what kinds of criteria do you look for in a Japanese product that may mean it has potential in the UK markets? What kinds of criteria work?
Okay, if it's well, the market for trading card games is quite limited. There's very few that do actually work in the West. There are a very small number of games that have been successful in the UK over the years. So that's a kind of limited possibility. But with video games, it's really, there's a lot of factors in that. It's the playability, it's the look of it, whether it can be translated easily. There's a whole bunch of different things we have to look at to know whether Konami releases a lot of video games in Japan which we don't release over here because they simply would not work. They're culturally and many other things that they're too different to release over here.
There's three things I look at. One, do I like it, or do I know anyone who would like it? Gut instinct really plays a big role in that to a great extent. Two is look at how titles in the past have done and how people are talking about them online nowadays. Twitter's a fantastic thing like that for judging potential, although some people go too far and assume that everyone on Twitter who's saying they love it will buy it. Wish that was true, but the trends don't say so just now. And the final point is it basically, would I be able to get it through the BBFC with sufficient rating? That doesn't mean to say I don't want it to get a high rating, actually, quite the opposite sometimes. But is it going to pass through without any problems as well?
We basically look at whether the game is suitable for European markets. There are loads of different types of Japanese games, and most, we have to be honest here, most genre doesn't make it into the European releases purely because it's just not suitable. For instance, how many European audiences would buy a dating game? It just doesn't translate well. And the other thing is, in terms of, say, big RPGs, Japanese games, they tend to, because of the story element to it, they tend to focus a lot on building the story up, and there's a lot of conversation, a lot of in-game text. For European audiences, there are two ways to get around it. One is to localise the voices completely, the other one is to localise the text. Either way, the localisation cost actually is quite a lot, considering that unlike the US, where they only have to translate it to one language, we've got it doing to 5. So that's the main consideration when we look at games. That goes along the lines of, goes hand in hand as well with whether we think the game's successful, will be successful or not. If there's a big enough demand, then we'll take a punt on it.